My mother has a history of trying to flirt with guys I've dated and being inappropriate. My husband knew this. We laughed about it. He assured me he would never in a million years think she was attractive. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, My Life Has Imploded. My husband, a 29-year-old male, slept with my mom, a 55-year-old female, right before we got married 2 years ago. And guys, just like the title says, this story is about a woman who just found out from her husband somehow that right before they got married, within a few days, at the end of his bachelor party, he hooked up with her mom. And you're going to see here, guys, in this story that her mom has quite a history of flirting with guys and all that type of thing, and just pretty much can't keep her hands to herself. So in essence, both her mother and her husband are total pieces of garbage. But as I say all the time, we're living in Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0, so truth is stranger than fiction. So, but you're going to see here at the end of the day, they're going to get theirs, but I thought it'd be an entertaining one to cover here. So it starts off, she says, he confessed to me yesterday out of guilt. The details are that he was extremely drunk on his bachelor party night, which I knew had happened. He doesn't drink often and overdid it. Said the next morning that he didn't remember anything after a certain point. I thought nothing of it. Looking back, I can see how he was acting pretty off, which I assume at the time was just wedding jitters. Blame it on the alcohol, and it goes both ways, whether it's gals cheating or guys cheating, blame it on the alcohol. But you're going to see here, guys, there's more to it than just the alcohol. Now, he's told me he didn't remember coming home that night, which was when my mom, who was staying with us that week before the wedding, came on to him. He went along with it to the point of ending up having sex in her bed. In fact, he passed out in her bed and was there the whole night. My bachelorette party was the same night. I came home around 3 o'clock in the morning to see as he wasn't in our bed. I texted him but assumed he had crashed with a friend, and as he said he might do if things got crazy. But he was actually with my mother, right in the room next door. The next morning, he quietly slipped out while I was asleep. Then opened the door pretending he'd just come home after sleeping off the drunkenness at his friend's. He got into bed with me and told me that lie. As if it wasn't enough, he also initiated sex soon after. He'd been effing my mother mere hours before. We got married the very next day. Holy crap, that is screwed up. Now I'm going to assume here that she behaved herself that evening at the bachelorette party. She says, F everything. I literally cannot believe this. My mother has a history of trying to flirt with guys I've dated and being inappropriate. My husband knew this. We laughed about it. He assured me he would never in a million years think she was attractive. What the F? Well, obviously he's full of crap. And again, I don't buy the alcohol thing. There's more to it than that. I called her last night and just said husband told me everything. She spent several minutes pretending not to know what I was talking about. Of course, the denial. Whether it's to a guy they're cheating on or their own daughter, they're hooking up with their husband. Then denying everything and saying he was making it up. Then claiming she'd woken up to my husband forcing himself on her. Oh my God, she's putting the blame on him. The sheer audacity of the BS she is capable of is beyond any disgust I can properly convey. I eventually just ended the call. I could not stop crying. She refused to even admit the truth, let alone take any responsibility or apologize. Well, we know the whole accountability thing. I'm not even worth basic honesty in my own mother's eyes. I'm not even worth a half-assed I'm sorry to her. The person who's supposed to love you no matter what, and she does this, and does she think I'm that stupid? Why keep lying to someone who knows you're lying unless you actually think that you'd fall for your own crap? She's a narcissist. She's evil. Take your pick. And that's it. This is her mom. The one woman in the world she should believe to have her back. And I know about the whole mother-daughter thing. There's oftentimes conflict and turmoil and stuff like that. It's a stereotype, but it's pretty dead on. But hooking up with your husband or the guy you're going to marry, as I say in other videos where dudes find out that their dad is hooking up with their girlfriends and that their dad deserves a good punch in the face, this girl needs a good puncher mom, a good spit slapper. Today I can't cry at all. Everything feels unreal. I'm completely lost and almost feel like I've dreamed this or something. I've lost the two most important people in my life because they decided that I wasn't important to them as having a quick F-U-C-K. Well, hope it was the best 10 minutes of their lives. And sure, maybe my husband didn't come home that night with the planned intention of sleeping with her. He probably didn't, and it's just a horrible judgment from over-drinking. That doesn't change the fact that he and my mom had you-know-what. No one should be able to say that about their spouse. How is that normal? It's not normal. I can't imagine remaining in a marriage where my spouse has effed my mom, literally 2 nights before our wedding. There's simply no coming back from that, right? No, of course not. Dump this asshole. No, I will never get over it or forgive it. I feel absolutely revolted that for the last 2 years, they've been at a family visit together, acting more or less normal, with me right there looking effing stupid like a effing clueless fool. There's probably much more I'm forgetting, but maybe it doesn't even matter. I'm just done. My life is gone, and I have no idea where I will be next week, let alone next year. We were going to be together for the rest of our lives. Now it's gone, just like I have nothing. What can I do now? How do I possibly explain to the rest of my family why we were divorcing? I am so effing humiliated. Just take it one day at a time. Day by day, hour by hour, but get this piece of crap out of your life. Get your piece of crap mom out of your life. And whatever good family you have left, have a relationship with them. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be embarrassing and the word's going to get out anyway, but it'll make them look bad. And I'm going to assume that she's a good person, has never pulled any bullshit on her guy before. I'm really hoping there. But yeah, move on. Just the way I say to guys to move on when horrible things happen to them. In this case, she moves on. Cuts them out of their life. And in this case, I'll be very curious to see how things go in the divorce process. Now, she provides some updates, both responses to questions that were in the comments section, as well as updates to what happened next. She says, and it gets better, by the way. She says, my actual update will be brief, but I first want to thoroughly address what you guys said on the first post. I read every single comment. I guess skip to the bottom if you just want to know the update. Most of you were pointing out that it sounded like my husband was too drunk to consent, meaning she graped him. When I spoke to him again after reading all that, I asked him carefully if he thought that she took advantage of his drunkenness. There was a long pause. He sighed and gave me this look that was just full of guilt and sadness, and that basically said no, that it would be easy to go along with that, but I deserved the full truth. He then proceeded to tell me that before that night, they had been sexting for several months. He had not told me this the first time he confessed. He went on to tell me more, explaining that he had left this out because of the biggest issue was the actual cheating, and he hadn't wanted to hurt me by giving me all the lead-up details. So for months, they're sexting and sending pictures and all that type of thing. In a way, that's probably, in her mind, as hard as it is to believe, worse than actual potential drunken hookup, because then it was obviously done on purpose when they were sober. Months. And again, this is her mom. Her mom is a piece of garbage. He only gave them this time out some remaining sense of honor. Remaining sense of honor, I guess. He said he'd be even more of a coward if he misled me to think it was grape. So I guess he's not much of a liar as he could be. Don't know how to feel about that. Yeah, that's really great that he admitted what happened, but he figured you're going to find out anyway. But doesn't matter. You know, one drunken night, that's one thing, is still awful, but for months, they're talking, planning things, all that, dirty pictures, whatever. And again, who's worse in the situation? Obviously the mother, but also this guy's a piece of shit too. She says, anyway, they've been sexting, including exchanging nudes, for a few months before the wedding. Now I had known they texted sometimes. They always had a friendly relationship. Well, define friendly. I hadn't even suspected anything weird. Like I said in the first post, he'd been adamant that he never thought of her that way. I trusted him. He can't explain why they started doing that beyond he got caught up in the thrill of doing something forbidden. There were implications made about wanting to do things in real life as the one night things, and that should the opportunity ever arise. Disgusting. Look, if he wanted to hook up with an older chick, he probably could have paid for one, let alone his soon-to-be wife's mom. And that whole he's not attracted to her thing was a bunch of crap. So fast forward to our bachelorette parties that night. The texting between him and my mom was going on while he was out that night. So what I said in my first post about how he possibly didn't come home intending to sleep with her, yep, that was wrong. He did. In fact, him telling me that he was going to stay overnight with a friend if he got too drunk was all part of the setup. He knew I'd be out very late at a show. He had the presence of mind to arrange a way to leave his party early in the night, go home, F my mom, and already have given me a plausible explanation for appearing not to be home when I got back at 3 o'clock in the morning. So he could spend that one night with her. It was just that important to him to have the full experience of falling asleep after sex and waking up next to each other. Oh, for goodness sake. Well, you know what? They can have each other, and let's see how long that lasts. He reiterated that he had been aware the whole time of what he was doing. He was not as drunk as he'd made it seem the next morning when he claimed not to remember anything that had happened. I think that tripped people on my first post into thinking he was incapacitated. I thought I'd been clear that he'd been admitted during the first confession that was an act he put on to me at the time to cover up his cheating, which he then later explained he actually had remembered everything the next morning. So, just to be clear again, while he did get drunk, at no point did he black out or become totally wasted to the point he was incapable of controlling his decisions and body. They set the whole thing up. He doesn't know if she was drunk too or relatively sober. She had mentioned she was drinking when he was out at the party, but he doesn't know how much. He said since that night, he hasn't texted her at all except about logistical details of visits and one text he sent her the day after. In that one, he said it would never happen again and she'd lose me. I knew, correct. So she better never let it slip. She agreed. He claims everything between them since has been a normal mother-in-law relationship. There is nothing normal about the whole thing. But the mother is obviously a narcissist, has issues with her daughter, and probably has to show her every which way. Do I believe that? Doesn't matter. He lied for 2 years and then lied by omission in his first confession about the months-long build-up to the affair. During that time, I was bonding with my mother over wedding planning. She brought me dress shopping. It's effing sick. It is sick. I want to see a cat fight. I want a video seeing her whipping her mom's ass. That'd be hilarious. In her wedding dress, kicking her mom's ass. I'd be misplaced to not acknowledge his integrity around the grape thing. He told me it'd be easy to run with that in order to keep me, but that he'd already betrayed me. He wouldn't be able to live with himself if he made the false accusation about something so serious instead of taking responsibility. Well, she made a false accusation about him. Notice that the mother did. Said, remember earlier in the story? Well, that is the only part I respect him for. As for my mom, nothing. Not a word from her since this weekend. Fine by me. I never want to see or hear from her again. It's almost like she died. I don't have a mother anymore. Some of you asked about my father. He died of health issues in 2010, and my mom had a revolving door of men when I was a teen, but no real relationships. So I don't have a dad or a stepdad either. Well, her mom was a professional carousel rider, and Lord knows what happened to the father in 2010. I'm also an only child. I have friends and some other family, but just do not have the energy to tell them about any of this. Last thing, some people thought my post was made up because I hadn't replied any comments. That was because I was so exhausted, just passed out right after posting it. When I woke up, I was locked and I couldn't reply. Her original thing had been locked apparently, but somebody copied it and put it online. And she says, now with the actual update. I'm proceeding with a divorce and have gotten in touch with an attorney. I've kicked him out of the house. I think he's gone to his parents for the time being. Not looking forward to a legal battle whatsoever, but there's no plausible way to remain married after this shit. I don't blame her in the least. And if that guy wants to show he's sorry, he should give her the easiest divorce possible. Since the majority of my stories are for situations where the gals cheat on the guys, and I always say if she wants to show him that she's sorry or whatever the hell it is, she can make the divorce easy as possible for him. In this case, he can make it as easy as possible for her for what he did. And again, we are assuming that she didn't have anything else going on. Or maybe this whole thing's bullshit and she and her mom planned the whole thing. Who the hell knows? But to this day, he doesn't know why he did it. I have my own suspicions based on things he said in the past about wishing he'd had more S-word partners before me because he felt like he had missed out on his youth. Maybe that was my clue. I wasn't enough for him. Should have listened. But let him and some friends talk me into believing I must be or he wouldn't be with me. And that all guys have regrets like that. And sacrifice them for the right woman. Well, pretty much most guys would think they would want to hooked up more or whatever before they got serious, or that girl. But hey, what he did, he did. If he had issues, he should have married her. Clearly that wasn't me. He also struggles with overuse of PORN sometimes. Stepmom is his favorite genre. Well, there's a surprise. It never struck me as anything other than a dumb PORN thing. Whatever. I won't be dating for a long time because obviously I'm colorblind to red flags. Yeah, I don't think she'll be getting involved with anybody anytime soon, and certainly will be, since her mom's out of the picture, we'll be looking at everything differently, but holy crap. Like I said, I think she needs to go kick her mom's ass. I think that'd be warranted there. But like I said, guys, truth is stranger than fiction. Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0 world. You can't make this shit up. And I've done other stories where dudes end up hooking up with, whether it's an ex-girlfriend's mom or whatever. It's crazy. It's like that song, Stacy's Mom's Got It Going On. That's what I was thinking the whole time when I read this the first time. But anyhow, guys, there you go. Another crazy one. That is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, if you ever come across a crazy story or stories like me to cover on this channel, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. The Strong Successful Male, that's my other channel. If you haven't checked that out yet, by all means do. It's a men's channel. Lots of great stuff over there you definitely will enjoy. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.